الأشخاص. أنا اسمي فهد الهبلول، مترجم وأكاديمي، وحريص دائما على نشر المعرفة. لذلك من عام 2016 بدأت هاشتاج المترجم خدمة المترجم، واللي الحمد لله لاقى رواج وساعد الكثير أنهم يتواصلوا مع بعضهم البعض، سواء خبراء يتواصلوا مع خبراء أو طلاب يتواصلوا مع الخبراء. وبعد ذلك في عام 2018 أسست أكاديمية المترجم الافتراضية وأشرفت عليها شخصيا. حتى الآن خدمنا أكثر من 6080 شخص من بأخذهم دورات مكثفة ومتخصصة ومركزة على مهارات تطبيقية تفيد إن شاء الله المترجم أنه يبدأ حياته ويتحسن في الترجمة أو يبدأ الحياة في العمل الحر. وأغلبها أو إن ما كان كلها حقيقة من أصحاب خبرات متعمقة في نفس المجال اللي يقدموا فيه الدورات. تنويهين سريعة، اليوم إن شاء الله راح يكون عندنا برنامج جامعة نيوكاسل ستراليا، وراح نتكلم عنها لبرنامج الدراسات العليا. في عندنا بوينتين، في الكيو اند اي هذه للأسئلة، فرجاء أسئلتكم اللي تخص البرنامج حطوها في الكيو اند اي، والشات just to have fun، الشات اللي عشان يعني نسولف مع بعض ونرد على بعض مثل الآن، يعني ترحيب وإلى آخره. ترى بعض الأحيان في الشات نفسه تشوف ناس يعني كي تعرفهم من زمان ودك تواصل معاهم، فالشات يصير للسواليف، والكيو اند اي only for questions، مش في يعني مثلا في عندنا كيو اند اي مكتوب فيه هاي no we want يعني questions. طيب اليوم عندنا زي ما قلنا لكم برنامج the University of Newcastle استراليا، في عندهم برنامج في الماجستير فريد من نوعه، تقدر تنجزه في سنة واحدة وتحصل درجة الماجستير. معانا من البرنامج الدكتور أشرف عبد الباقي. دكتور أشرف عبد الباقي حاصل على شهادة الدكتوراه من جامعة نيوكاسل. هو أيضا رئيس الجمعية الإسلامية في الجامعة لمدة 3 سنوات من عام 2016 2019، وفي نفس الفترة ترأس النادي العربي في الجامعة ونادي الطلبة الدوليين من عام 2018 ل 2019. اليوم حيكون هدفنا نتعرف على البرنامج، على الجامعة، على المدينة، وعلى كل المميزات اللي ممكن يعني تعطيك فكرة كافية عن البرنامج وعن الحياة في المدينة وعن الجامعة. وأيضا الأهم من هذا كله، دكتور أشرف إن شاء الله حيختم معنا نهاية اليوم، راح يتكلم عن فرص الأعمال البزنس وتجارب حقيقية لزملاء لنا سعوديون يدرسون الآن في جامعات أستراليا. ولأن البرامج اللي هم يدرسوا فيها مشابهة لبرنامج نيوكاسل، في مميزات راح تسمح لك أنك تكون معتمد في أستراليا، وبالتالي تقدر حتى تكمل وتفتح مكتبك وتجارتك في السعودية أو في أستراليا. طبعا أستراليا ما نخفيكم من الدول الكبيرة اللي فيها فرص يعني تجارية كبيرة جدا، خصوصا في مجالنا مجال الترجمة واللغة العربية. فالآن اسمحوا لي راح أتحول للحديث باللغة الإنجليزية، لأنه معنا دكتورة كيواكو، والدكتورة طبعا تتحدث اللغة الإنجليزية، فسوف أتحدث الآن باللغة الإنجليزية. First of all, welcome everyone to this session. Today, our goal is to get to know the program of the University of Newcastle, Australia. It's a very unique program. You can finish it in 1 year and you'll get your master's degree. During this session, we will try to cover all the information about the program itself, about the university, about the city. We'll try to give you a very good information about if you decided to take this program as an endeavor for your higher studies. This session, inshallah, will aim at giving you all the initial information that you need to carry on this project of yours. Okay, so now I'll be handing over to Dr. Ashraf Abdul Baqi. And Dr. Ashraf Abdul Baqi, he's a PhD holder from the University of Newcastle, Australia. He's the head of the Islamic Association and University for for 3 years, since 2016 to 2019. At the same time, he was also the president of the Arabic Club at the university, and also he headed the International Students Association from the year 2018-2019. And Dr. Ashraf, the mic is yours.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Fad, for the introduction. I will speak English and Arabic, so it will be easy for me and for everyone. So my name is Ashraf. I just received my PhD recently from University of Newcastle. My thesis was in English literature, comparative English and Arabic. So I'm very close to the translation field, as part of my thesis was Arabic novels. So I did a lot of translation, and I'm working as an interpreter in Hunter, New England Health. So it's like Ministry of Health here. I work as interpreter and translator at the same time. It's a part-time permanent job. And I'm really honored to be part of this webinar today. And I would like Dr. Kiwa to start by introducing the program. And after this introduction, we'll go through some questions and answers. And I will talk with you about why this program is special, why it's unique. And at the same time, I will talk about life and study here in Newcastle, in particular, and Australia in general. أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا. أنا اسمي أشرف عبد الباقي. أنا حاصل على دكتوراه حديثا من جامعة نيوكاسل. الدكتوراه بتاعتي في الأدب المقارن، يعتبر أدب عربي وأدب إنجليزي. جزء كبير من الدكتوراه من عندي كان اعتمد على الترجمة، لأن كان عندي روايات عربية فترجمت جزء كبير. شغال مترجم هنا في وزارة الصحة، مترجم شفوي interpreter. طبعا كلنا عارفين في interpreting في translation، الاثنين مرتبطين ببعض طبعا. وبرضه بنعمل translation كتير في documents كتيرة. النهارده البرنامج إن شاء الله يبقى تبقوا لقاء ودي كده، اللي عنده أسئلة، لأن أهم حاجة فقرة الأسئلة اللي هي في الآخر. لذلك هنبدأ دلوقتي بدكتورة كيوا تعرف لنا البرنامج بشكل عام. بعد كده أنا هتكلم معاكم ليه البرنامج ده برنامج فريد من نوعه زي ما ذكرنا في الإعلان، وإيه اللي أنا ممكن أستفاده من البرنامج ده، والحياة والمعيشة في مدينة نيوكاسل بأستراليا. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Kiwa. Dr. Kiwa is a renowned professor, associate professor in linguistics here in Australia. She is the program convener of the Master of Translation Studies. So Dr. Kiwa, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashraf. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar for Master of Translation Studies. This is a new program that is about to be launched in January 2022. The courses actually start in February, but it's my pleasure to give you the overview of this new program that comes with a lot of exciting experiences for students. And so let me start. Okay, with the overview of the program. So it's 1 year full-time program starting in semester 1. And at this point, we are taking in students to start only from semester 1. So you would not be able to start in the middle of the year, but we start from the 2002 February, the beginning of the first semester, and you finish after the second semester of courses and a project. So we have pretty much set coursework for semester 1 and 2. Students will take 3 core courses and 1 directed course. If the student decide to take the directed course in the first semester, then that means that the students will have 4 courses to do in the first semester. And in the second semester, there are 2 more core courses and 1 directed course. So coursework-wise, 2 or 3 courses, and then the student will be working on the project. Although we have a set of courses and project for each student to complete, we are going to have all these courses really well integrated for the construction of database of the language combination of the student choice. So in this case, English and Arabic. And we're going to work on this construction of the database as a team from the beginning. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means after I talk about this important information about NATI. So this is a one-year program, but after taking these courses and then finishing the project, after graduating from our program, each student will have a little closer ticket to a NATI accreditation. NATI is a National Accreditation Authority of Translations, translators in Australia, which you have to be able to work for the governmental sector. And there are certain number of test exams that you have to take and then pass to be able to have this NATI certificate. But by completing our program, there are 2 exams can be exempt. So automatically upon completion of our program, the ethical competency test and intercultural competency test, these 2 you don't have to take, because these are, our program is NATI certified, NATI endorsed program. So students who complete our program do not have to take these 2 courses. So that's a bonus. All right. So work integrated learning opportunities. We're going to offer a lot of opportunities for the students to work on the materials that come from the governmental sectors, such as New South Wales, which is the state of Australia, New South Wales Health and Education. And we will be working closely with local NGOs and NPOs that support immigrants. And we are going to interact a lot with NATI certified professional interpreters and translators who are working in Newcastle area. And we're going to talk to the partners who provide the materials for us to translate, but we also discuss what materials would help working interpreters through the discussion with these professionals. And then we're going to also bring in a lot of professionals from other fields, such as media. So students will have a lot of opportunities to work with people who would need translation and people who are translating. So you get to see what it's like to work as translator in Australia. Okay. As for the construction of field-specific databases, so there are many fields that we can work on as translators, but through our program, we want to focus on the domains of health and education, and gaining vocabularies in these domains would open a lot of doors for the as a professional translators in the future. And what's unique about this database that we're trying to construct is that we're not going to just have the documentation of the original language and target language, but we also rate the output translation in terms of the technicality, how much technical terms are used in this document or the target material, or the level of formality and cultural appropriateness. So there are a lot of gaps sometimes that we encounter when we try to translate forms and website materials, etc. If the concept doesn't exist in the target culture, then we have to add some notes to that. And so with the notes, how culturally appropriate the outcome is important rating that we're trying to document as part of this database. And we'll try to assess how much culturally appropriate translations would help the service providers' operations. And same thing as for audience appropriateness. So for example, if the material or website coming from the state is for the families, then is a language flat enough? Is the language accessible? If the materials is for children or youth, then is a language age appropriate? So we're going to have the ratings of those aspects of translations as part of the database. And also the degree of politeness, that's very important in my culture as well as in your culture. And then it can vary from material to material. And then we would like to have well-addressed, detailed database in terms of the level of politeness as well. And what we are trying to do with this information is to conduct research. So after finishing a master's degree, if the students are interested in working as a translator, but also if they are developing interest in research, then there's another way to continue as a researcher in translation studies later. So we try to produce some publications out of this database as a team. Okay, in the domain of health, we planned to gather information from health service providers. So their websites, brochures, flyers would be the text materials that we'll try to translate and provide high quality translation. And we may also collect hospital and clinic registration forms so that the interpreters do not have to translate these forms that everybody has to fill out every single time when they have a case family to take care of. And we may also translate patient questionnaires and things like that. And we plan to partner with multicultural health services in Hunter New England Health, which is a local governmental sector. And we, as University of Newcastle, we have speech clinic for stuttering and voice. And we also are going to translate their materials for the clinic. And we'll also we'll be making partnerships with Hunter region local NGOs and NPOs that support immigrant families. And as for the domain of education, we're going to translate education and family care service materials, websites, brochures, flyers. And when the new immigrant family come here, they need to send their children to public schools, and then they have to register their children. And so those school or daycare center registration forms, those need to be translated. And again, we have to be sensitive to the cultural issues and to assist parents and interpreters and service providers. And also, parents oftentimes have to fill out some kind of questionnaires. And so we will try to provide translations for those forms as well. So we'll be having partnerships with New South Wales Education, Early Childhood, and also Technical and Future Education, TAFE. And we're going to be working closely with our university's School of Education, and again, with local NGOs and NPOs. Okay. Here's the table of the courses that we offer. As I said, in the first semester, there are 3 core courses. Foundation of Linguistics. Those who do not have linguistics background, they can learn the terms that we need to have as a common language to be able to construct the database together, this team. And they are going to also learn theoretical foundation of translation and human evaluation of machine translation. So here, what we're going to do is to compare what machines do and then how human would translate. And when the machine outputs something that is a little off or not quite appropriate or not sensitive to context, we try to document when machines fail to translate the target materials smoothly or to more effectively. And we try to find a way to support by using the machine translation. We all use online dictionaries, so on and so forth, but we eventually need humans to check how the entire website or brochure can give the good flow of information. So we evaluate that and then document that. And then again, that can be another research project. And in the first semester, we have this elective, so translation as a profession. Here, we're going to hear more from the real world professionals who are actually working in these governmental sectors or local NPOs or remote areas from the media, and then have a discussion as to what kind of challenges translators face and how they solve the real world problems. In the semester, second semester, we offer cross-cultural communication and theory to practice, and then we also have as an elective human evaluation machine translation, which is a bit more advanced or more in detail version of the human machine translation evaluation. So this is a sequential course. And then each student will be working on the project. So this project is something that they can, so from the beginning of the first semester courses, across all these courses, we are going to be working on the same database, but from different angles for having different focus. And by taking all these courses and then keep working as a team, each student may become more interested in a particular aspect of this database, and then they can pick that as their own topic, and then can work on, let's say, cultural appropriateness, and then work on a project for that language combination, or it can be education specific age appropriateness project, for example. And so that's the overall plan for the courses. And here is the admission requirements. So although these are the things that we have listed on our website, we have discussed and it's decided that we can be very flexible in terms of the background degrees that the students have upon application. And so it doesn't have to be, although we expect many students to have degrees in these areas such as linguistics or English or modern languages, students who have business background, students who have law background. So those students are also welcome to apply, and we can assess each student's ability case by case. And in the end, what matters the most is the language ability. And if you have business background, that's a bonus, that's a plus. And so we can look at each case and assess the student's level. And the language requirement is that if you're not native speaker of English, then you are asked to demonstrate the ability in reading and writing, because we're not doing interpretation in our courses. It's focused on translation. So in these two domains, reading and writing, students must demonstrate the ability of IELTS 6.5 and above. But if they do not meet this criteria, they can again contact us, and we may be able to assist those students with our English school courses that they can take, and that can satisfy the English requirement. And so they can enter after they complete a certain number of hours or courses, then they can start taking the Master of Translation semester 1 courses. Okay, and although we it'll be preferable if the student already has some work experience, again, it's not a mandatory requirement. So if you do not have any work experience prior to application, please do contact us because we can assess, again, if you have done any assistantship for their language courses, or if you have done some project in language courses, we can take a look at those, and then if they are sufficient, we can count that as work experience. And our program itself will provide a lot of real-world interactive opportunities, activities to interact with the professionals and let students work on the real-world materials. We provide the work experience, so the students do not have to come with them already. I think that's more or less, yeah, all what I wanted to give you. And so thank you very much. And then now we welcome your questions.
طيب. Thank you very much, Dr. Kiwa, for all the information. I just sum up some information. So one of the major benefits of being in this program is to have the NATI. So the program itself is accredited by NATI. And NATI, by the way, it is the formal Australian association, or say authority, to allow people to be licensed and to be able to work in the field of translation and interpretation. So it's equal in Saudi Arabia to مثلا وزارة التجارة، ممكن إن شاء الله في المستقبل هيئة الأدب والنشر والترجمة. فالprogram نفسه, the program by itself is accredited by this authority, so it means it's aligned. It means إنه أنت لما تخلص من البرنامج you will have much more leverage than anyone who's just, you know, trying to take their test, because it's already going to waive at least 2 exams because it's already involved or it's inside the program. The other thing is, I noticed, because this is a question that I know that's always going to be asked, that the program requires IELTS 6.5. So allow me, Dr. Kiwa or Dr. Ashraf, if I'm going to ask, what about if you have a very good student? I mean, the transcripts, everything, it looks like a prospective student. However, they have, like, for example, 6 in IELTS. Would it be possible for the program, one, to make an exception based on, you know, the other facts other than the IELTS, or does the program will allow to have to give an exceptional, a conditional acceptance, where they can come to the university, work a little bit on their English, and then roll into the program? So is that an option?
Yes, so as I said, if the English score doesn't really, is not quite there, but it's close, then we would probably accept, if everything else looks good, then we'll probably accept the student with the condition that the students can take some English courses that we offer at the university, English courses for international students, and then they can start from there. Yeah.
Usually just to complete what Dr. Kiwa just mentioned, because I'm very close in this, especially I have many Saudi friends who comes here and you don't have the English test. You study like 10 weeks in the language center, and this 10 weeks you study English for academic purpose. And that 10 weeks is enough for you to complete your study, either PhD, master, whatever. You study these 10 weeks. At the same time, the university give like accept other like English tests like Pte and Toefl. I'm not sure if it's also accepted in this program or not, but Pte is a new test. Unfortunately, in the Arab world, we don't know about it. However, it's very common in China and India and other countries. So Pte, if you just Google it, it's a test that's equivalent to IELTS, and it's accepted nowadays in most of universities around the world. So because sometimes people say IELTS is difficult, so there is another test which equivalent, like TOEFL, like Pte, students can take at the same time. And as we said, the 10 weeks, of studying 10 weeks at the language center, English for academic purpose level, the highest level. We have many questions here, Dr. Fadi, in the Q&A, just because of the time.
Yes, inshallah we'll have time. So I will ask now 2 questions about the program. And then I want to hear from you about the university itself, the life in the university. So I want to pick 2 questions at least from the list here. So one of which is, I think it's important for many because it's been asked many times. The program is this year online. Okay, so the question is, according to what I understood, the program by itself is not an online program. However, because of COVID-19, it's going to be offered online this year. Can you explain more about, the situation online versus face-to-face? Also, if you can explain about the certificate. I mean, if it's going to have online or not on it.
Right. So this is not an online program. This is originally only going to be offered face-to-face, but as you said, because of COVID and travel restriction, we decided to offer all the courses online as well. So the students who cannot travel just yet can start taking the courses offshore or from remotely, and they achieve the same certificate. And again, it's not online program, so it doesn't say online degree. It doesn't make any difference. So it's the same as you graduate from full face-to-face degree here. And what we're going to do is to see how many are offshore, how many are onshore, and we'll try to do hybrid for those who have less time lag. But for those who have many more hours of time difference, it might be difficult for those offshore students to be attending each session virtually. So for those students, we are going to record all the courses sessions so that they can review each session remotely. Yes.
Rim is asking, is the whole program is going to be online, or we just study here and just we go to the test to Australia to set the test or so?
So is there a requirement? So if someone decided to go online route, so for example, would they be able to complete the whole thing online, or they would have to come to the university whenever there is exams, or there will be like some requirement that they have to travel and come and do it?
No, we are going to accommodate for the situation where, if the student is taking everything as online remotely, then the assignment will be assessed remotely, and so that it wouldn't require the physical presence at the university to be able to pass.
If you remember, Fad, when I contacted you like 3 months ago, I told you that you asked me, is it going to be online? I told you, no, it's not online. But recently we got the approval that the program will be online because of the COVID restriction all over the world. And you know that many universities start to have this like learning mode. So it's a learning mode. You can choose face-to-face to come here, or you can choose online. And the certificate for both of them will be the same.
Okay, so so just to clarify, since it's online now, you don't have to come to, for example, for a specific exam or something until the program again resume to be a fully face-to-face again, and then you'll have to be in Australia for the program, correct?
I think we are at this point very, we will have to wait until what happens this coming year, and see what kind of adjustment we have to make. And we will remain as flexible as we can and try to accommodate for the students' needs. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask another question, because people are getting tired of asking the same question. How much does this program cost, and is there any difference between if the cost is if the program is online or face to face?
No, there's no difference, because there's no difference in terms of the degree. So again, it's the mode of communication that's going to be different. But whether you're taking the course remotely or face-to-face, you'll be interacting with us, the teaching staff, to the same degree, basically. And then we'll create the opportunities for those remote students to be directly talking to our partners as well. So again, it's just you're not physically together, but you're going to go through the same amount of interaction, same amount of activities. And so the cost wouldn't be different. The degree is, again, the same.
Okay, that's cool. So we have a lot of questions, but because we want to make this session a bit more interactive and to make them wait until we finish, I would like to hear from Dr. Ashraf, if it's possible. Can you talk us about the life in the university? We'll talk later on about the city, but now I want to imagine that I was blessed to be accepted in the program. I'm now in Australia. I want to know more about the university by itself, the facilities, the things that you like, maybe the things that you don't like, things like this.
Okay. Dr. Kiwa, give me the chance to speak in Arabic to make it very quick. أنا كنت داعي النهارده رئيس النادي السعودي يتكلم معاكم محمد الزهراني بحيث إن هو يقول لكم بالظبط ليه السعوديين هنا مرتاحين في مدينة نيوكاسل بشكل خاص يعني. أولاً أنا لما باجي أدرس في جامعة بشوف المكان اللي فيه الجامعة ده أهم شيء. فأنت بتدرس في ولاية نيو ساوث ويلز، أستراليا 6 ولايات ومقاطعتين. خلينا نقول 8 ولايات يعتبر. فأكبر ولاية اقتصادياً فيهم أو الولاية اللي هي الكبيرة جداً اللي هي ولاية نيو ساوث ويلز اللي هي فيها مدينة نيوكاسل. مدينة نيوكاسل بتبعد عن مدينة سيدني حوالي ساعة ونص بالسيارة أو ساعتين بالقطار. ف very close يعني. إحنا قريبين جداً من سيدني. في نفس الوقت مدينة مش إقليمية يعني مدينة كبيرة برضو. والميزة فيها إن هي cheaper than سيدني. يعني لو أنت سكنت في سيدني بتبقى أغلى شوية. المدن الكبيرة كلنا عارفين طبعاً لو سكنت فيها بتبقى السكن غالي والحياة غالية. لكن هنا في نيوكاسل الحياة يعني أرخص مقارنة بالمدن الكبيرة كميلبورن كسيدني كبريسبن. الحاجة التانية الجامعة نفسها. الجامعة بترحب جدا بالطلبة الدوليين وخاصة الطلبة السعوديين. هنا الجامعة بتساندهم كتير جدا. أنا بقالي 6 سنين هنا في الجامعة. من أول يوم جيت فيه وأنا الحمد لله يعني أعطوني كذا تكريم. يعني ما فيش فرق بين استرالي وغير استرالي. يعني واخد معاهم أعطوني جايزتين كامبس لايف أوارد. دي يعني في تاريخ الجامعة ما خدناش حد غير استراليا يعني. فدي كانت حاجة كويسة إن يدوها لواحد من خارج استراليا. فالجامعة بتقدر يعني. الحاجة التانية الجامعة دلوقتي بدأت إن هي تعمل اللي هي الشراكات مع دول الشرق الأوسط. ودايما بينزلوا برامج كتير عندكم. حتى في معرض الرياض كان في اكسبو بيبقى في الرياض كل سنة. كان الجامعة موجودة فيه قبل الكوفيد. كنت أنا هروح الإكسبو ده لكن كان قبل الكوفيد. ف بيعملوا برضه بينزلوا عندكم السعودية. عشان في حد كان بيسأل هل في ايجنت. أكيد في ايجنت موجود للجامعة لو حد عايز يقدم. حتى لو حد عايز يقدم وما وصلش الايجنت ممكن يتواصل معنا شخصيا وأنا هساعده إن شاء الله بكل اللي أقدر عليه. الجالية السعودية موجودة عندنا حوالي من 100 ل 150 طالب أو طالبة موجودين بيدرسوا هنا سواء بكالوريوس ماجستير دكتوراه. الملحق السعودي كان هنا من قريب في حفل التخرج بتاع طلاب. ففي الجالية كويسة. النادي السعودي هنا بيقابلكم في أول يوم أنتوا بتيجوا فيه. بيشوفوا لكم موضوع السكن. في جروب للبنات وفي جروب للشباب موجود على الواتساب. يبقى في تواصل قوي. حتى عندنا في النادي الإسلامي في جروب برضو للطلبة المسلمين كلهم في الجامعة جميع الجنسيات. فالمدينة كويسة. الجامعة ترتاحوا فيها. انتوا استخدم جوجل. الناس اللي بتسأل على التكلفة كام وقارن بين الجامعات التانية. يعني شوف how much this program costs and how much the program costs in other universities. And in other universities you'll find it 2 years program. هنا في نيوكاسل it's the first time you have it 1 year program. ودي قلنا فيها advantage وميزة كويسة جدا مش هلاقيها في جامعات تانية. إن أنا عندي البرنامج لمدة سنة واحدة. تخيل أنت بتدرس في سنة واحدة بعد السنة دي أنت معاك ماجستير. خلاص داخل على الدكتوراه بعدها إن شاء الله. أو خلاص أنت كده خدت الأكريديشن بتاعك الشهادة بتاعتك وهتقدم على اختبار الناتي. وبعد الناتي شوف انت بقى عايز تدرس مثلا في الجامعات السعوديه، عايز تدرس في جامعات في الامارات، في قطر، في اي دوله عربيه، عايز تدرس في مجال الترجمه، عايز تفتح بيزنس في مجال الترجمه. في فرص كتيره هنتكلم عليها في الاخر، ولكن خلينا نكمل باقي الاسئله.
بس عشان نجاوب على السؤال بطريقه مباشره عن التكلفه، البرنامج تكلفته 34,000 دولار أسترالي. طبعا نسوي الكونفرجن تبعك، لأنه الدولار الأسترالي يختلف عن الدولار الأمريكي والدولار الكندي.
هو around 34,000. Australian dollar is less than American dollar, US dollar. But if you compare it to other universities, you will find that in other universities, 1 year program, the program is 2 years, and each year around 27 or 29 or 28. I'm not sure exactly, but let's check in Google. Say Master of Translation in Macquarie University, in Monash University, in Western Sydney University, and compare between these universities and other universities. And I told you why Newcastle in particular, and what is the advantage of Newcastle from Sydney, and why this program, it's like 1 year and it's available online. You can study while you are in Saudi Arabia if you want. So there are many advantages. You have to consider all these options.
طيب، عندنا نقطتين بس ابغى انوه عليها بشكل سريع. ال 34 دولار تعادل تقريبا 90,000 ريال سعودي تقريبا. ترى جامعة الأميرة نورة، جامعة الأمير سلطان، لا عفوا، جامعة الأميرة نورة وجامعة الملك سعود تقريبا ما هي بعيدة عن هذا الرقم، تقريبا 80,000 حاجة زي كذا. فهذه بس عشان تحطها في يعني في عين الاعتبار. تقريبا 90,000 قيمة البرنامج كامل. البرنامج غالبا ما راح يكون مجانا الا اذا عندك بعثه من بلدك، يعني هذا الاحتمال الوحيد اللي انت تفكر فيه. بالنسبه اللي يقول لك انه انا اقدر اخذه وانا ادرس بجامعه، اذا انت عندك شهاده بكالوريوس تدرس هنا مثلا جامعه ماجستير او حاجه زي كذا، تقدر تقدم على البرنامج اذا قبلت تشتغل، يعني تقدر تدرس برنامجين في نفس الوقت. في سؤال يقول لك انه هل ضروري اخذ اختبار ناتي عشان اشتغل في القطاعات الحكوميه حول العالم؟ طبعا غير منطقي السؤال، لانه الاختبار للحكومه الاستراليه، فبالتالي في الحكومه الاستراليه هو شرط، خارج استراليا هو قد حسب من حكومه لحكومه هل تعتمد هذا الامتحان كامتحان مفاضله او امتحان اعتماد او لا.
خلينا نقول بصوره مبسطه كده، ايه هو الناتي ده. يعني انا هنا في استراليا عشان اقبل ورقه مترجمه، مثلا انت واخد شهاده البكالوريوس من جامعه مثلا عندكم في السعوديه، والشهاده طالعه بالعربي، فلو بتقدم في استراليا مش هيقبلوها الا لو تكون الشهاده دي مترجمه بالانجليزي معتمده من ختم ناتي. ختم الناتي انا كمترجم بعد ما باخد البكالوريوس الترجمه اللي حضرته ده، بروح احضر بقى الاختبار. بتعرفي من اختبارين اللي هو الانتركالتشر والاثكس، دول اختبارين يعني صعبين شويه، فخلاص انا درستهم في ضمن الكورس بتاعي، فبدخل بس الاختبار اللي هو الترجمه. وحاليا by the way it's online, it's available online that you can set the test online, the native translation test. فدي حاجه جميله جدا برضو عملوها الفتره الاخيره. فانت بتاخد الناتي نمبر، بيديك كده زي ختم مكتوب عليه مثلا 3 4 5 9، وانت بعد ما بتترجم الورقه بتروح خاتم كده. هو ده اختبار الترجمه الاختبار الناتي المعتمد. انما انت ممكن تشتغل من غيره عادي في استراليا، هنا تشتغل مترجم في اي مكان، بس مش هتبقى مترجم معتمد. ولكن لو معاك الختم ده بقى، فتخيل الوان بيبر بتبقى من 30 to 40 دولار، من 30 ل 40 دولار الورقه اللي انت عشان تترجمها. عشان كده بتبقى حاجه كويسه.
زي اللي عندنا الفرق بين المترجم الحر العادي في السعوديه وبين المترجم اللي عنده مكتب معتمد. اللي عنده مكتب معتمد يقدر يدخل على مناقصات حكوميه، يقدر يوفر اللي يعني يختم حتى اوراق بسيطه مثل شهاده الميلاد وغيرها، ولكن الاعتبار بانه ترجمته معتمده فتعتمد حكوميا والى اخره. بغطي كم نقطه فضلا، بعدين بنرجع كمان لاسئله، بعدين نروح لموضوع حياه المدينه. في نقطة تقول لك انه طبعا اول حاجة لازم تعرفوا بيانات التواصل مع دكتور اشرف والبرنامج وتفاصيل البرنامج ان شاء الله راح تكون في الديسكربشن او في التوصيف حق حلقة اليوتيوب. ان شاء الله حلقة اليوتيوب لما ننزلها مع تفاصيلها راح نعلن عنها في حساب التويتر. في سؤال ثاني او سؤال ما حد سأله بس انا اعرف المهم انه نتطرق له، هل البرنامج معتمد في المملكة السعودية ولا لا؟ طبعا لما تدخل على موقع سفير للجامعات بتلاحظ انه حسب الدولة، في دول كل برنامج لازم تعتمدوا الملحقيه وتقول انه هذا برنامج معتمد ولا غير معتمد. وفي دول يكون الاعتماد بالجامعه، هل الجامعه ترقى لمعايير المملكه العربيه السعوديه فخلاص يعني نثق فيها بالكامل والى اخره. فاستراليا مطبق عليها النظام انه تجد لما تروح لموقع سفير، احنا سوينا الريسيرش، انا دخلت شفت بنفسي، تجد انه جامعه نيوكاسل معتمده بالكامل، والبرنامج هذا من ضمن برامج نيوكاسل، نعم برنامج جامعه نيوكاسل، فبالتالي الاجابه المختصره نعم البرنامج معتمد. ايضا في بعض الاسئله اللي شفتها هنا اللي تقول لك انه so for Dr. Keo, maybe you can help us with this. So this program started this year, and it's going to be held for a year. But the question is, it's not gonna stop. Like it's not like a trial for like only 1 year or two. So the plan
No.
enrollment is going to be every February, or let's say the start of the study is going to be every February, right?
Yes.
اوكي طبعا هنا الاجابه دكتوره تقول لك البرنامج مدته سنه، نبدا دائما في بدايه السنه الميلاديه بدايه الدراسه الفعليه تقريبا في شهر فبراير، بس ما هو برنامج فقط للسنه القادمه وبعدين مع السلامه، لا هو برنامج انه بادئ الان ومدته سنه. باختصار برامج الماجستير تعرف في السعوديه زمان كانت 3 سنوات، بعدين صارت الان 2 سنين زي النظام الامريكي والى اخره. وفي بريطانيا البرامج غالبا تكون سنه زائد رساله أو سنة فقط، فهذا برنامج مشابه كثير لبرامج بريطانيا اللي هو مدته سنة فقط. Okay, so Dr. Kiwa, for the structure of the program, I noticed that you're mentioning a lot that we're going to have courses plus a project. Do we have a thesis option, or it's only a project-based or capstone-based graduation?
So the project is usually going to be a small report. It's not probably the master thesis size because it's just 1 year program, and then we're climbing a lot, and then we would like to offer a lot of work integrated learning opportunities as well. So project is going to be very focused, written up. You know, you pick your topic and then you work on it, and then you create a report, and so that report will count as the project completion. So it's not going to be the thesis. So it probably wouldn't give us enough time to get individual close feedback to keep improving, like when you work on thesis. So it's not going to be as intensive as thesis project, but it's more like a term project. Yeah, but that shows that you have picked up a particular topic and worked on it and completed coherent report. That yeah.
Just to highlight this fact, I actually done my master's degree in the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and I've done the same. So because in Saudi Arabia, some people does not know that's the difference between project and thesis, and think that thesis will qualify for a PhD, but project does not. No, I can tell you from my own experience.
You were at UIUC?
Yes.
Really? That's where I did my PhD.
Really?
Yes.
We'll have to talk a lot then. Yeah, see, so now we are in Illinois now. See,
yes, Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah, that's
Small
a very
world.
nice coincidence. Yeah, or yeah, I was about to brag about it, but anyhow. So yeah, I just want to give you from my experience. It's always nice to meet in Illinois. So from my own experience, I just received my PhD acceptance from the University of Belfast, Queen's University at Belfast. So just to tell you guys to rest assured, even if you're doing a project, does not mean that you will not be able to join PhD programs. You always have to recognize this. Although some academics will tell you like it's better for you to go through a thesis, my personal answer would be no, choose what's best for you. All programs are structured a bit differently. You have to study the program and study everything about it, read everything about it, ask questions, and then if you feel that this is what you want to do, just do it. Because if you do thesis or you do project, it doesn't really matter with the modern academic styles. I have one more question for you, Dr. Keiwa, and then we can move to Dr. Ashraf to cover the city life. So I noticed that in our presentation, we've covered a lot about translation. But would you say the program is also suitable for interpreters or the people where they are more oriented to interpretation more than translation?
Yes, so as I said, it's 1 year program, so we wish we could do everything, but since we have just 1 year, we focus on translation. However, as I said, we're going to be working with the service providers as well as the existing working professionals who are interpreter/translator. So you get to learn a lot from them in terms of what it's like to live life, become professional interpreter. So we're going to offer a lot of opportunities for us to work as a team and then learn from the existing professionals around us in the region. So we hope to provide these training through these activities, very interactive activities. And so you will get the gist of what it's like to work as an interpreter as well as translator.
That's good. That's good.
And
okay.
if I may, about the project. So what we try to achieve is to create this database that we can build yearly. As you said, we are taking in students every year, and we're going to make this database really rich. And if you have worked on this specific aspect and you'd like to publish this, if you want to aim at PhD program somewhere, right? And you need publication to apply for it. You come back to us, then we may be able to try to publish something together, so that you can build your academic CV to be able to prep yourself for higher degree somewhere else. Yeah,
exactly.
or with us.
I like this answer, actually. Thank you very much. Yes, one other option, if in case a university requires you to have a thesis, the alternative option always with those kind of programs, they're going to ask you, do you have any publications? Because publications kind of show the same aptitude that you would have if you're doing a dissertation. Or a thesis, master thesis. Okay, so because the chat will not be included in the YouTube session, I just want to re-echo the answer of Dr. Ashraf about recommendation letters. They are not going to be required when you try to enroll in the program or you apply to the program. Also, there was a question that's repetitively, I saw it repetitively. I'm still a bachelor's degree student, and I want to apply to this program. So I'll just answer from one side, and then I will let Dr. Kaiwa or Dr. Ashraf answer the other side. In principle, if you're still a student, you can't start a master's degree. However, I think you can apply with your transcript and show that you're going to graduate. Is that the answer?
Definitely. And we're now working with some international institutes to see if we can combine their degree with ours, because we have just 1 year, and some undergraduate programs which have 3 years, they may want to have their 4th year students to spend time and then do this master's degree at Newcastle. So we're now working on all kind of arrangements, and that includes these smooth transition from bachelor's degree to master's degree. And as you said, yes, you're welcome to start applying while you're still studying, and then you're about to complete your bachelor's degree. Please do send us the application information so we can start assessing your application documents. Yes.
While Ashraf is explaining or talking a bit about the city, I would like to give you a question that is not really totally relevant to our topic, but I think I would really enjoy an answer from you. There is Reem, our friend Reem. She says, before we decide on getting into this program, I would like to know, if it's possible, how can we decide if we want to go into a translation program, especially that in bachelor's degree we talk English in general, and we have other options, for example, linguistics, literature. So I would like you to think about this question. And then we'll be listening to Ashraf to cover the city life. And then we'll get back to you to give us, your experienced and well-informed answer on how can we actually decide if we really want to go into translation or just choose different path. Okay. Fadal Ashraf, if you can, Dr. Ashraf, you can talk to us a bit about city. the city by itself. I'm lucky enough to get in this program.
I told a little bit about the city. So I said the city Newcastle, very quiet and lovely city. You will enjoy it here. So as I said, we are located like north of Sydney, like an hour and a half driving by car, or 2 hours by train. If you have a family and you come here, your family will be safe. You will enjoy the city. So your kids will go to primary school. There is like Jasmine Public School, Hayton Public Schools, a lot of Saudi students there. When you go there, you feel that your kids are in Arabic school or like in a school from your region. So 80 or let's say 75% of the kids from Muslim background in this suburb, because in this suburb, usually the Arab and the Muslim lives in most in Jasmine, Walden. And there are like SLSO, student learning support teachers who are speaking Arabic. So you will have like teachers who speak Arabic in the school who support your kids in the first year or first 2 years to learn English quickly. And you will have like intensive English classes, and this teacher will give support. For the medical service, I think you will have your own medical insurance alliance, and I think the consulate or the Saudi embassy, you have a specific like provider.
Yes.
For the, we have 2 mosques, Newcastle Mosque and Mayfield Mosque. They are very close around the university. For the accommodation, most Saudi students, they prefer to live outside campus. However, the single students, some of them prefer to live on campus. On campus is a little bit expensive, but outside campus, you can rent a house for $350 to $400 per week, which is cheap around the university. If you prefer to live like far away, it will be much cheaper, but most students prefer to live nearby the uni. This is for the city. As I said, 2 mosques. The Arab population is increasing because recently we have received more than 70 Syrian families since 2016. They came as refugees. I myself, I worked with them as a caseworker for these families. So they settled in Newcastle. The hijab or the niqab, if you have the niqab, or they call it here in Israel, the burqa, it's totally acceptable here. You can move around the city wearing the niqab or the hijab. It started to be something common. We didn't face any racist incident since I came here. It was only one incident with the Pakistani students, and the police interfered, and it was resolved quickly. You can ask me and I will answer. This is what I remember so far. الحياة بشكل عام مدينة هادية. الطلاب السعوديين مستمتعين بيها. في طلاب من هنا كانوا هنا ونقلوا جامعات تانية. They transferred to other universities and they came back to Newcastle. They said we like Newcastle. It's quiet. يعني لو قارناها عندكم ممكن نقول زي جدة عندكم والرياض مثلا. الناس اللي في جدة دلوقتي هيفرحوا طبعا لأن احنا
Riyadh is not quiet anymore right now. Yeah, ممكن we can compare it to الخبر. I would say الخبر.
أصل احنا مدينة ساحلية، يعني بينك وبين الشط في أي مكان تسكن فيه ربع ساعة 15 minutes away from the beach if you live anywhere 15 to 20 minutes. So
it's
we similar to جدة.
الخبر where Aramco is located. Yes. الخبر is very quiet, very limited population. It's very it's on the Arabian Gulf. So I would say when you are describing Newcastle, I see Al-Khubar, to be honest. Okay, so
I know some for families they live by the beach, just straight away there. In some they live in like apartments. في مباني عماير هم بيسكنوا فيها، بيفضلوا يسكنوا هناك على البحر مباشرة. في ناس تانية بيسكنوا في البيوت العادية اللي هي دور أول كده، ده بيبقى جنب الجامعة بشكل عام. ولو في أي أسئلة if you have any other question just send me an email and I will reply as soon as possible.
بالضبط. Again كل معلومات البرنامج وبيانات التواصل مع الدكتور أشرف وغيرها راح تكون موجودة في وصف حلقة اليوتيوب وفي إن شاء الله بوست في التويتر بحيث تقدروا تتواصلوا معاه. I want to re-echo a couple of answers made by Dr. Kiwako about if there is a requirement for GPA. She said basically it's a case by case, and if you are interested, please contact the program. They will assess because it's not only about the GPA, it's basically they have different criteria matrix. They look at it as a student, as your English competency, as your achievement in some specific courses, all of these things. So it's not just the GPA going to determine yes and no. And another answer by Dr. Kewa about what are the classic timing, is it morning or evening? Her answer was both morning and afternoon, but all courses will be recorded, so it's not going to be an issue if you are taking it online. So before we move to answering the last question by Dr. Kewa, which is going to be about how do we know if translation is the thing that I want to do from the other options. Before we move to that, I would like to just نتحمد السلامة للدكتور أشرف، خضع لعمليتين بسيطة في للرباط الصليبي والغضروف، فالحمد لله على السلامة، تقوم بالسلامة إن شاء الله. We wish you يعني you'll get back very well and maybe you score more goals and never play football again. So الحمد لله على السلامة. And also congratulate Dr. Ashraf for getting his PhD from Newcastle University just last week. And as you know, I think it's a huge achievement and we need to celebrate together. And thank you for giving us the time while you're rather than celebrating and rather than resting, you're giving us some of your time to answer these questions and to be with us. So now I move to Dr. Kewa. How would you like to answer this question? How do I know if I want to do translation, not linguistics? We don't want linguistics, we want translation. How?
Well, I think, well, again, you know, in the long run, 1 year focusing on translation, you get to see the community, their need, what's happening in the, you know, in our local community, and how the dynamics with immigrants is changing in Australia, etc. So it's really lifetime experience, and then you think about the language, what it means to be bilingual in this community, and you will get this certificate. If you decide to go for NATI, you can go for NATI. If you decide that, well, with this skill, maybe I would like to do more research, then as I said, you could choose to develop your academic CV to do research, right? We can assist you to we can write you recommendation letters. You can build your longer academic plans or goals and decide to go for master's degree in some other areas related to language, or you can move on to PhD in linguistics after you gain this life experience. And I am a linguist myself, but I have worked as interpreter in the hospital and courtroom, and for the the manufacturers that needed some product manuals to be translated. And so so I have used my bilingual skill to serve for the community, but also I pursued my PhD as a researcher. And so it's not that you have to really commit to this, and then this 1 year will determine your life. You know, it's just if you want to take a moment and think about, and then want to make yourself useful, we have a means to make your bilingual skill be immediately useful for the community, which is really growing. So Arabic is one of the fastest growing, the demand for Arabic translation here in Newcastle is really increasing these recent years. So you can take this as the opportunity to try out. And then if you decide to come to linguistics, you're more than welcome to come to linguistics.
Okay, so basically she's very political, saying that you can choose linguistics or translation. It's really, again, these kind of questions, we can always give you our perspective, but you always have to study the options really well, and knowing yourself, you will make this decision. I know I said this is the last question for you, Dr. Kewa, but I think we have one important question. What are the other languages other than Arabic and English that are inclusive in the program?
So we will have Chinese, Japanese, and now we're figuring out if we can take care of, let's say, Indonesian, which is Australian focus in Asia Pacific region. And we will, we have the expert in German and French as well. So
that's
good number of.
That's good enough. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kewa. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here with us and give us, a comprehensive look into the program, some of your experiences, meeting another and I. And thank you, Dr. Ashraf, for being with us too, although that you just had your surgery and you should be celebrating your achievement. أنا كنت معكم فهد الهذلول. شكرا لكم لحضوركم، شكرا لتواجدكم معنا. قاعدين نحاول نغطي أكبر عدد من البرامج إن شاء الله ونعرفكم على كل الفرص المتاحة سواء داخل المملكة أو خارج المملكة. إذا كنت تعرف برنامج أو كنت تدرس في برنامج وحاب إنه إحنا نسوي لقاء مع القائمين على البرنامج، تواصل معنا تواصل مع الجهة اللي أنت حابنا نتعامل معهم، نستقل لنا اجتماع وخلي يحسب لك حاجة في خدمة المترجم بإذن الله تعالى. Thank you all. I will have to conclude the meeting now. It was a pleasure of mine to be with you. I think this is a very good 1 hour that summarized everything about the program. Again, all the information about the program or the links and the emails will be included in the YouTube video or the YouTube post. So for the attendees, you can always reach out to Dr. Ashraf. He's more than happy to answer your questions and try to get you into the program if you're a fit and to advise you and help you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.